Shalom, Yasharala. This is your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, the great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article as we're getting closer and closer to the war to end all war. All right, and as you can see, these nations are starting to create their alliances. All right, as prophesied in the scriptures. All right. And here you're talking about, how you say two opposing sides. You have Russia on one side and a NATO member on the other side. Now, Turkey, all right, has already been on a so-called rocky road or rocky relation with the West, all right, with NATO, all right, going back to when they got the S-400 from Russia. Now you have the scenario with Russia and Ukraine and, the West and America putting sanctions on Russia, all right, as far as selling their natural gas and things like that, which is really crippling, Europe right about now, man. And you have a lot of these European nations that are, pretty much on the fence. They're kind of, how do I put it? They're kind of like making, let me grab this in the scriptures real quick. They're kind of going back and forth with one another on what they're going to do. Let me just read this in Obadiah 1:7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is no understanding in him. All right, so going into the ones that eat thy bread, the ones that America pretty much take care of, as far as you think of bread as food and nourishing. You go into you feed babies and stuff like that to build them up and everything. All right, now in this sense, again, America is supplying all these other nations with weapons, military strength, trade, and everything else like that. All right. Well, you have these nations, like Turkey, all right, and the EU that are a part of that system. All right. But they also get, sometimes supplies from, other countries as well, like i.e. Russia with the natural gas to Europe and everything else like that. This is why they're faltering over there. They're worried about, what is going to happen when the wintertime comes. And, they're trying to get that Nord Stream 2 pipe or the Nord Stream 1 pipeline back online. All right. So that they can, continue to get some natural gas from over there. But, Russia's like, hey, man, we're not in no rush to get it back up and popping, because at the end of the day, you're still going to need that gas. And the more and more we wait out, the more and more, how you say, supply and demand, the more the demand is going to go up. So, hey, you can do whatever you want to go and do, but at the end of the day, you're still going to have to buy from us. We can just charge you a higher price, and we can make you pay in the ruble, because, you're trying to put sanctions on Russia and trying to collapse our economy. You're only making our economy stronger. All right. You're making enemies with your allies. All right. So now, as you see, these nations are starting to sober up. They're looking around and saying, look, do we stick to America's side and just go bankrupt? All right. Have our, have the possibility of our economies collapsing, and then the citizens be up in arms and then overthrow the government? Or do we go against America? All right. And how do I put it? Go on the side of Russia. Well, what's the outcome of that? America could be mad at us, sanction us, maybe want to go to war with us. But hey, if we, go over on the side of Russia, maybe they'll protect us, all right, from, big bad America. They can't take us all down, and this is what you're starting to see happen. So it says, Obadiah 1:7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There's no understanding in him. Now, let me read this in the NLT. It says, all your allies will turn against you. All right. And that's plain and clear what you see in, starting to happen. All right. The things that America is saying to do, these nations are like, man, we're going to do whatever is best for us. All right. It says your allies will turn against you. They will help chase you from your land. All right. So, again, like I was saying, if they decide to go with Russia, they're thinking like, well, if they stay with America, they're thinking about what's the benefits. If we stay with America, well, we wind up going bankrupt. We have the risk of our our civilians deciding that they want to overthrow our government, and then, economic collapse. That's not good. But if we go with Russia, all right, what's the worst that can happen? America try to come out of war with us. All right, well, we'll be at the side with Russia. And Russia, America already pushing at Russia. So we'll end up in a war, but we'll be with Russia. Russia has this natural gas and the supplies, because think about it. The natural gas and things, if they was to go to war, they need these supplies and everything else like that. So if they go to war, hey, who are they going to war with? They're going to war with their supplier. All right, so they're not gonna. America's not the ones that stepping up to the plate to try to supply Europe and Turkey with this natural gas and stuff like that. I mean, they can, but it's gonna be at a higher price and a lower quality of resources. All right, so hey, they get the better resources for a cheaper price from Russia. All right, because America got that tax on it. All right, so it says they will help chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive you and destroy. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. And so, with Turkey, it's pretty clear. I mean, we're really in this point in time where we're at now. You know, it's pretty obvious what these nations' decisions are going to make, because you have them in a tough spot. Because it's like you back an animal into a corner. He pretty much you could even take the most docile animal and put him in a corner, and the closer and closer you get to him, you pretty much know that he's going to lash out at some point in time. All right, even the most docile animals. So this is what you have going on with these other nations. All right, so let's read a little bit of this here article. It says Russia and Turkey reach a deal to ditch the dollar in trade. All right, and this is a big no-no. All right, the big no-no is ditching the U.S. dollar for trade, the petrodollar. All right, go back and look in history of all the nations and all the people, whatever happened to them, that tried to ditch the dollar. You had two presidents that did that, and i.e., look at the two presidents that was pretty much assassinated in U.S. history, and look at what they had wound up doing. You had Abraham Lincoln with the greenbacks. All right, and you had what's his name, JFK, who pretty much tried to how you put it change the currency back off into how you put it, the gold standard, I believe it was. But hey, you see what happened with them. All right, now you go into these other countries, you can see Saddam Hussein, I believe, wanted to sell his oil in the British pound. Muammar Gaddafi tried to create a golden dinar. All right, and you had there was another country that did it as well too. But hey, America pretty much invaded all these places, man. All right, and told them that was a big no-no, and set up their own puppet and got them right back onto the petrodollar. All right, so it says Russia and Turkey reach a deal to ditch the dollar in trade and anchor up. Now, and the reason why they would want to do these things is because of the sanctions that's put on to Russia. All right, so hey, so Russia's like, all right, well, cool. Y'all want to sanction us with this in the gas trade. Now, we're a supplier. Now, in order for in order for us to be able to buy and sell this here oil, we need that American dollars, which is like American taxing anybody in this here deal. Russia's saying, well, if y'all want to put the sanctions on us, we could just backdoor y'all by selling our resources in straight rubles or our own currency. So if we do that, that means these other nations are gonna have to buy up our currency. It's just gonna be more money for us. We can go around this here this little sanction, and we can still get money. You can't cut us off from that. All right, it says Russia and Turkey reach a deal to ditch the dollar in trade, and Ankara agrees to pay for some of Russia's natural gas supplies in rubles. All right, Russia and Turkey have reached an agreement in principle to switch some of the payments for Russian natural gas to rubles as part of the deepening trade ties between the two countries, the Turkish industry ministry announced on Thursday. So again, you have to think about these things, and we can say that we friends here and there, but it's just like a regular relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like with friends and everything else like that. You got people that you call so-called friends, but then you got this one friend that's always, every time y'all go out, you always got to go pick them up. You always got to pay for their entry into wherever y'all going. Let's say the bar or the club. You got to pay for them and buy them drinks and take them out and pick them up. And then every time y'all go to the bar or the club, they the ones always starting fights. They always getting you thrown out, always getting you arrested. You got to bail both of y'all out. And then eventually, if you smarten up, you'll be like, why am I even friends with you, man? You know what I'm saying? You doing them but causing me trouble and causing me money. Whereas you have another partner where it's like they're inviting you out sometimes. They're paying for you sometimes, and y'all always have a good, peaceful time. Y'all come back home and everything is perfectly fine. And you look around and like, you know what? I'd rather have this person in my life than that person. This person costs me money. This person, at least get to have some fun. All right. But hey, you have to think about, again, the relationship, like I said, between, basically America and the rest of the beast. All right. These people, the rest of the beast, NATO and the EU, they're in a position. It's like, look, every time we go out with you in America, we always got to fight somebody. We always got to go to war with somebody. And it's costing us money. We don't get none of these resources whenever we go to war with you and follow up behind you. We don't get none of the spoils of war of these things, man. At least on the other side, the other friend, whenever we go with them, at least they have goods for us. Right now, how come, if you telling us there's the sanctions on Russian natural gas and everything, how come you didn't substitute it with something of equal or better value? How come it's at a worse value that we'll be getting, man? Why would we want to go out with you? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the two friends. Well, both friends want to go out. One friend you got to pay for and pay extra money for, and the other friend, they're going to either pay their own way or they're going to pay for you. Which friend would you go out with? You know, and this is what these nations starting to wake up to. It says the move to avoid payments in U.S. dollars help both countries. Russia has called the currency toxic. The West sanctions have made it difficult to conduct transactions. It also helps Turkey protect its dwindling hard currency reserves. All right. You know, another thing is that, you know, these other countries, they have to keep buying more and more of American dollars for trade. And, you know, American dollars are pretty much weak. I mean, they're strong, but they're weak in the sense of America just constantly printing money out of nowhere. So it's pretty much devaluing it to the point where it's like, you know, if a country like, let's say Turkey trades and they buy like, let's say $100 billion in U.S. dollars to be able to trade with some money. By the time they go to try to get that money swapped back out, it's 125 billion, 150 billion. So they're losing money on this, you know, especially comparably to their own currency. They're just making their currencies weaker, and they have to, you know, because it's costing them more money to get it back. You know, it's like with extra interest. All right. It says last week, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan confirmed that Ankara would start paying for some of its natural gas imports from Russia in rubles. Several hours of talks with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in Sochi. The two nations also signed a roadmap for economic cooperation that envisions bringing bilateral trade turnover to 100 billion a year. The president also discusses a broad range of issues, including Ukrainian grain exports. Earlier this month, Putin said EU countries should be grateful for Turkey for ensuring a reliable supply of Russian gas to the bloc via the Turkish Stream pipeline, or the Turkish Stream pipeline. So, hey, you see how these other nations are trying to find out a way to backdoor the sanctions put on Russia and abide by America situation, man. They're like, look, if we can still get this through a third party, you know, like how here in America, you know, a while back they had a situation where you couldn't fly directly to Cuba. All right, so what you would have to do is fly to a third party and then go to Cuba. Let's say you would fly from the United States to Mexico, from Mexico to Cuba, you know, and that's, you know, like, well, we can still get to Cuba, but we got to go to a third party first. All right, and this is what these nations are looking at. Either A, you know, one of us will take a hit, you know, and Turkey is the best country at the point in time to be able to take this here hit because they already got arms trades with Russia. They got the S-400 already. You know what I'm saying? America not going to just roll up on them like that. All right, and plus, you know, Turkey's already showed that they don't really care about what America has to say about these things, man. Whereas you have the EU, they're pretty much, you know, because the EU is not one country, it's a bunch of European countries together. So you have some of them that's like, yo, like let's say for instance Germany, they're highly considering, you know, just trying to get that Russian oil as quick and fast as possible, man. All right, but the fact of the matter is, you know, you have some of the other countries like, nah, we got to stick it out with NATO and this and that, and it's tearing that EU block apart, man. All right, so hey, you know, you see the prophecies coming to pass as far as, you know, partly strong, partly weak, but you also see coming to pass that we'll read this part again. Obadiah 1:7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, and they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There's no understanding in him. All right, let me read that in NLT. It says, all your allies will turn against you. All right, now more than ever, this is becoming more clear. All right, that all of America's allies are starting to, you know, plan and plot against them. All right, let's keep reading. It says, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. So this is the point in time where we're coming into right now, man. All right, and you see all these things. It's all being predicated by let me Job 18:7, it says, the steps of his strength shall be straightened. His own counsel shall cast him down. All right. So, hey, going into, well, let me read this in NLT. The confident stride of the wicked will be shortened. Their own schemes will be their downfall. So, hey, their plan was, hey, we'll start a conflict, you know, with Russia, and we'll bleed them out by using a proxy, the proxy being Ukraine. You know, we'll just keep sending them arms, and slowly chip away at big old Russia, weaken them down, and get them morally weak from long-term war and everything else like that. You know, like how America has been at war for the last 20 years in the Middle East. You know, it's it's kind of hard to recruit new soldiers into the military right now. It's kind of hard for the U.S. population morale to be high about going to war with anybody because this is all they've been seeing. They've been drained of that energy. All right, so hey, now you see that their schemes as far as, hey, we'll do a proxy war with Russia, weaken them down and everything else like that. We'll put sanctions on them and everything. But all this is actually doing is what? It's strengthening relations between your enemy and your allies. All right. They're the ones looking at them like, look, because you got these sanctions on us, this is affecting our economies over here, and America's allies economies. All right. So now they're starting to do a how do you say a double take it if their ally is actually their ally or actually their enemy. Like, you're the one causing problems for us. All right. Let me. I don't want to make this too long. Let's go to. Oh, matter of fact, let me go back to this real quick. All right, here we go. This is Isaiah 47, start at verse 10. It says, "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it has perverted thee, and thou sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me." All right, so America has used these people. Habakkuk says, he gathered unto him all nations, and heaped unto him all people. He used these people as pawns and everything else like that for their own benefit, more or less to say, for their own how you put it, your own, you did it for your own good. You weren't thinking about nobody else around you. You were just doing it for your own, your own advancement, more or less to say. But it says, "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it has perverted thee. And thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else seeth me, or and none else, uh, and none else beside me, Salakia. Therefore shall evils come upon thee, and thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know." Hey, so going into this, this is what's about to start happening, because look, these nations turning on America is going to be a so-called new thing. They're going to be like, yo, where did this come from? All right, how come all of a sudden now, these nations are starting to come up against America, man? All right, their own allies. What made their allies turn against them? Well, we read about how their own council is going to be the one bringing them down, but they're trying to go with their own wickedness, their own witchcraft, thinking that these other nations would, the propaganda, Russia's the problem, these people are the problem. But these nations, like Habakkuk also say, you know, uh, um, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the nations shall spoil thee. Suddenly they shall rise up and bite thee and vex thee. All right, so all these nations are starting to see what's going on. Verse 12, it says, "Stand now with thy enchantment and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so thou shalt be able to profit, if so thou mayest prevail." So, with a lot of this witchcraft that America's been pulling on a lot of these different nations, hey, stand with them. See if you can prevail with that, man. See if this propaganda is going to keep you going, on the uphill, journey. All right, but it's actually bringing you down. All right, this is Ezekiel 38. I'm going to read from the top. It says, "And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O chief, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army." All right, and now, hey, you had a scenario where you had some people in Ukraine talking about, look, more portions of Ukraine talking about some, they want to go over to the Russian side now. All right, it says, these people are starting to realize that they've been sold out by, that they're false leaders, they're puppets over there. All right. It says, "I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia," Persia being Iran, and Iran, I believe they just launched a satellite up into space for Iran the other day, and and they saying, oh, it was for the guise of that they could see more of the uh, hold on, Slovakia. Russia launched a um, satellite into space for the Iranians. I don't know if I said Iranians or Ukrainians, but launched a satellite into space for the Iranians, which are the Persians, the other day, and they were saying that it was for better view of the Ukrainian battlefield for Russia, but they're not quite sure why they launched that satellite up there for them. But it says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet. Gomer and all his bands in the house of Tomarga of the north quarters and all his bands and many people with thee. So, hey, these different nations, alongside Turkey and these other nations are going to wind up being under the shield. Well, let's read the next verse. Verse 7. Be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia's going to wind up being a guard, all right, or you know, a mainstay to a lot of these different nations, you know, in a sense of protection and provisions. All right. So hey, you know, as you see, these things are starting to come to pass as we see. All right. Hey, you know, Russia is stepping up to fill in that void. Hey, y'all can't get natural gas. Y'all getting cut off for this. Y'all getting cut off for that. Y'all can come deal with us. All right, we can help you out in these things. You know, that relationship over there is only bringing you down, and this relationship right here can only bring you up. So these nations are starting to wake up from this Babylonian juice, and they're starting to sober up, and they're starting to see what's going on. And guess what? They're plotting on how to get out of that relationship with America, man. All right, thus fulfilling prophecy. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say call, halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Badash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can't push in this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say stay strong. Shalom.